Cheers! Super excited to the second episode of the podcast Hospitality Secrets. Your host Paul Sfârlea here. Now I'm in the car, one of my favorite places to record my podcast. I'm alone. I can think for myself. I can talk with you freely from here. In this very episode, I want to talk to you about why my English sucks. As you see, I'm not a native English speaker, but in this podcast, I would like to talk to you about how can you speak English if it's not your first language, if you're not good at it, without feeling embarrassed. So this is the main theme for today's podcast. See you after the intro. So the big question is this: how can we, the hospitality industry, present or future entrepreneurs, offer memorable hospitality experiences to our guests in a way that our staff is happy and the business is profitable and sustainable? This is the question, and this podcast will try to give you the answer. My name is Paul Sfârlea, and welcome to Hospitality Secrets. Bam, welcome back. I would like to tell you a quick story about my background. I was born in Romania, Cluj-Napoca, Transylvania, Eastern Europe. This is my area. This is where I'm living now. English wasn't a big thing in Romania. I was seeing English only at Cartoon Network, at Tom and Jerry and other cartoons. So that was the only English that I heard. And to be honest, in the high school, I wasn't a good student. Actually, I could say I was pretty bad student. I didn't like school. You can say it. I even quit college because I noticed that school is not for me. And I didn't learn English in school. I didn't like the classes. I didn't like the teacher. So I didn't went to English classes. I said that I don't need English. I'm living in Romania. And here in Romania, there are a lot of people who are not speaking English. So this was my mentality in the high school, and I didn't want to learn English. I didn't knew English until I finished high school. So after I finished high school, I started working at Bershka, and I saw that I kind of need English because people are speaking English, and there are a few people who are coming in the store. They want clothes and they speak just English, and I would feel very embarrassed if somebody asked me something in English and I couldn't tell them, couldn't reply, I couldn't understand English. So this was like a big embarrassment for me not to speak English, because in the high school, I chose to not learn English. So this is the backstory. I tried to go without English. I tried not to learn English until I discovered that I need English. I need it very, very bad. After finishing high school, I realized that I really need English, because if I want to see the world, if I want to have an impact in the world, to communicate with people outside Romania, I would need to speak English. And I really wanted to communicate with people outside Romania, because the world is so big and I like so much traveling outside of the country. So I really needed to learn English. But it wasn't easy, to be honest. It wasn't easy at all. I tried. I followed some online courses. I wanted to see how can I learn English by myself. I had the basis from the high school, but I didn't learn them. So I went back, I started practicing English, learning the theory of English, learning the grammatics of English, but it was quite hard. I realized that I still don't know English. I cannot talk, even though I know the grammatics, or I know maybe some vocabulary, some words in English. I couldn't speak in English, so I was very frustrated. I didn't like it at all, and I was ashamed when people were talking in English with me, and at some point I started understanding what they were saying, but I couldn't answer back. I couldn't reply back. So I was quite embarrassed about not knowing English, so I tried to learn English. I started going to cocktail competitions where I had to learn English because I had to speak in English. I've been to a few global competitions where I couldn't speak in Romanian, so I had to learn English, and it wasn't easy for me to express myself. I think this was the hardest part. How can I express what am I thinking? I was thinking in Romanian and I was trying to express in English. It was very hard, very difficult for me. And I choose at the cocktail competitions to learn the speech. So I learned the speech in order to understand English. You can even look on YouTube videos. You can find some YouTube videos from South Africa, Cape Town global competition where I participated, and you can hear that my English was very, very poor, and I couldn't express myself in English. At that point, I started understanding better. When somebody was talking to me, I was understanding, but I couldn't express myself. So I was continuously thinking, how can I start practicing English better? I was starting slowly to speak like very bad, even worse than I'm speaking now. Can you imagine? With even worse grammatics that I'm having now, even worse expressions, but this is how I was talking, and I was so ashamed. So I was afraid to talk with somebody in English because I knew bits and pieces of English. I knew a few words, but I was ashamed. I didn't want to sound as stupid and to talk and not to express correctly, and I was grammatically incorrect, and I was frustrated and I was ashamed to talk in English. This was like a very bad thing that I did, because I was so ashamed that I wasn't practicing. When somebody tried to speak in English with me, I tried to make the conversation shorter, not to be forced to speak and to do mistakes and to say wrong things in English, as I'm saying now. As I think you noticed that I'm not a very fluent English speaker. I'm not a speaker. I'm not speaking grammatically correct, but I'm speaking in English without being embarrassed. So at some point, I won Diageo World Class in Romania, and I went to South Africa, Cape Town, to represent Romania to the global finals. And the brand ambassador from that period, his name is Andrei Gusidi. He was the reserve brand ambassador when I won the Romanian national finals of World Class. And he needed to speak in English. I was still ashamed and I was still afraid to start a conversation in English because I knew that I could not express, I could not say grammatically correct things in English. So when I met Andrei Gusidi, he actually is one of my mentors who helped me a lot, introducing me in a big game of bartending and hospitality industry. And he was a very confident guy, which I liked a lot about him. He was not a good English speaker, but he needed to speak in English. And what was like a aha moment for me was at some point he was talking in English with somebody, and I was there. I remember the scene, and he was talking in English and trying to express things like even more complicated things, and he was so confident about what he is saying. But when I was listening to him, he had so many grammatical mistakes. He was saying, he was speaking English like not very good, almost bad. He had bad expressions in English, but his confidence made me think twice, because when he was doing a mistake in English, he was so confident that I was thinking, is he doing a mistake, or am I am knowing wrong how to put it in English? So I was in doubt if he's saying correct or I know correct, but most of the times he was not speaking grammatically correct, but he had such a confidence in what he was saying that I was thinking that maybe he's saying right, but I don't know. So this was like a big epiphany, big aha moment for me when I realized you don't need to speak grammatically correct. You don't need to say only right expressions in English. It's okay. You don't need to feel embarrassed by not knowing grammatically correct, not talking grammatically correct English. So not being fluent enough. So this was like a big moment for me when I realized I don't need to speak correctly English. My native language is Romanian. My second language is English, which I learned after high school. So it's not a problem if I don't say the right formulations in English. So this was a big moment for me. Then I realized that I need to speak more English, even though I'm doing it very wrong, and I don't need to be ashamed about it. And I decided from that moment that I will start failing faster. I will start speaking more English with bad grammatics, but I will do it. I will try. The framework that I had in my mind was that first I need to talk English. I need to put myself under fire. I need to force myself to speak English, even though I don't know how to express a lot of words a lot of phrases that I'm having in my mind. I cannot express them in English, but at some point I will learn them. So I started putting myself under fire. You have an example here. This podcast, I'm not afraid to speak anymore. I'm putting myself under fire because I know that I will be better at some point. Tony Robbins says a nice thing. If you want to conquer the island, you have to burn your ships. So I decided to burn my ships of not knowing English. So when I was a trainer of the Diageo Bar Academy, I had to deliver like a short session for 1 hour in front of all Diageo leadership team from the Europe. So it was like very huge. All the bosses of Diageo team from Europe were supposed to come in Romania to Bucharest to attend to a big workshop. And from that workshop, I had 1 hour to deliver my session in English. So until then, I never delivered a training in English. I was afraid to talk like a whole session in English. So I decided to do it. I decided to put myself under fire. But more than that, I spoke with Matt, which he's the head trainer for Europe. He's one of my coaches, one of my mentors who's helping me. And I spoke with Matt at that time, and I said, Matt, can I talk more than just hour? Can I take one more part? Because I know this part also. There was like a module of Business of Bars, which is the module that Sean Finter developed for Diageo, for owners and managers to teach them how to make more profitable business and better businesses. And I spoke with Matt and with Lucas, which still is my boss, and it was my boss in that time from Diageo. And I spoke with them and I asked them, guys, can I please deliver also one more part? For example, Business of Bars. I really like that content. I really know that content. I would be very happy to share it with the whole Diageo team. And this was my way of putting me under fire. I put myself under fire. I needed to talk in English at Diageo, an important session. And they said okay. Luckily, they said okay. They will do it. I can do it. Sorry, I'm in the car and I'm driving. I said that I will do it. They were okay for me to do it, and I decided to do it. The big day came. I stand up. I spoke. I started speaking in front of all the Diageo bosses from Europe. It was huge pressure. So I was afraid, honestly. I was almost sick on my stomach about what can I say, how can I deliver a session in English. So I started doing it, and I started the session. It wasn't a successful session. Actually, it was a very bad session. I remember that at some point I wanted to express ideas that I had, but words couldn't come. So I started talking and I was saying a sentence until half, and at the half of the sentence I realized that I don't know how to continue that session, and I stopped and I started again with different words. So I was so ashamed, I was so embarrassed, but I didn't want to quit, and I said, okay, I will definitely do it. And I delivered my 1 hour session. Then I was thinking, how can I deliver the next session? And I put it myself under fire again. I burned my ships and I started again the session, and I tried to do it as good as I can, but words didn't came in that moment in English. But after all, to be honest, the session was quite well. I was deadly scared that the session won't be good, and I won't have the role of trainer, of the Ajo Bar Academy trainer in Romania anymore, because I was such a bad English speaker. But luckily, after that session, I actually won my role of the Ajo Bar Academy head trainer for the Eastern Europe, 9 countries in Eastern Europe, because I stood up, I put it myself under fire, and I delivered those 2 sessions in English about the Ajo Bar Academy and what I'm passionate about. And actually that was the moment when I got hired to the role of head trainer for the Ajo Bar Academy, because all the Ajo bosses from Europe saw that I can deliver a good session in English, and I want to improve myself. So this was what I achieved through speaking English, even though I'm not a good speaker, even though my English suck. But now the transformation that happened for me is that now I'm not ashamed anymore. If I don't speak grammatically correct, if my English suck, I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm confident. If you understand the message that I'm delivering, I'm very happy. And that's the purpose of this podcast, for me to transmit my thoughts, even though English is my second language and English suck. So that was the episode for today, this podcast. I hope it was useful for you. For me, for sure, it was very useful, and speaking with you in English, this is my best practice of learning English. And soon, I promise you now that in a few months, I will be a much better speaker in English. Thank you very much for listening. Wish you an amazing day. See you tomorrow. Cheers.